Hi all, this is a round 4 game from the European Cup Championships currently being played between Russia and Slovenia. Morozevich was playing white, representing Russia, against Beliavsky, Alexander Beliavsky playing black. This was one of the 2 decisive games in the 4-board match. So Morozevich plays d4 and invites another mainline Nimzo-Indian defence. He plays his move Queen c2, which he had played in an earlier round. And after castles he played a3, so losing time to get the 2 bishops. But now his opponent, instead of going for central tension, played more conservatively with b6 here, preparing to fianchetto the queen bishop. After bishop g5, bishop b7, you see here the classic e4 square is being overprotected by black in the Nimzo-Indian, and white now plays an interesting move, knight e2, so the knight might swing to g3 here, or might even go to f4 later, but that might be dangerous because of e5. After knight d7, actually Morozevich prepared instead to move the knight to c3 potentially. He moved queen c2 now, so he has the 2 bishops, but he has lost some development time, and black has comfortable control at the moment on the e4 square. So after rook d1, queen c7, Morozevich now played knight c3, not minding black playing cd4 with a semi-open file on this c4 target. He played rook takes d4, and black's got his own target as well. Black played now a6, which might have ideas later of preparing b5. And after bishop e2, black played h6. Now Morozevich just retreated that bishop, so potentially it's coming to that comfortable diagonal on g3 to eye that d6 pawn. But it does have an implication of sacking this g2 pawn, which Beliavsky dared to take, and I'm not sure if it's an entirely sound pawn sacrifice. It does give Morozevich the kind of position that him or the likes of Tao would love, a kind of semi-open file against the opponent's king. But is it completely sound? After bishop e3, Morozevich intensified the pressure with knight e4. And now knight takes e4, queen takes e4 was played. And here I think this might have been a blunder. It's obviously very easy to say with modern engines and analysis. But black played here bishop f5. And before looking at that, maybe knight e5 would be okay for black. Let's have a quick look at knight e5. See, what would white have here? The knight prepares to act defensively to g6, and also the queen's keeping control of the e7 square to stop any invasions from the bishop. So what would white have here? E.g. rook g3, bishop f5. I'm not completely sure how white continues the attack. Let's say queen f4. Then say just knight g6 here, winning the exchange, in fact. I'm not sure. This requires a lot of analysis. Is this position tenable? Please leave your comments on YouTube after knight e5. What was played definitely gave white a massive advantage. Beliavsky played bishop f5 because after queen g2 he has to stop the mate threat, so he plays bishop g6, which allows white to simply play bishop e7 now, getting that d6 pawn. And after this, white seems to be clearly better. He actually sacrificed the exchange now rather than lose that d6 pawn. So d5, bishop takes f8, and white's troubles are over. He doesn't have to concern himself about a winning kingside attack. Instead, he now kind of invades on the queen side, as we're going to see. He invades with his queen after this h5. He goes queen c7, and these poor queenside pawns are being menaced. And after b5, he plays queen c6, not only attacking that rook, but also it's creating a pin on the queen, because remember that rook's pinning that pawn. So he's threatening c takes d5 here as well as that rook. So the rook moves, c takes d5, so he's just gobbled another major pawn, and he's crushingly better. King h7 doesn't really help black much, and it leads to a disastrous final finish. So Morozevich is happy to just munch these pawns now. And after rook f1, he doesn't even need that rook on the g file anymore. Black plays e5. He just continues his targeting of queenside pawns. Rook c8. It's a bit desperate, because after check he just plays king d2. And what is black doing here? The rook takes f1's harmless, bishop takes f1, queen takes f2, say. White just has bishop e2 is playable, or queen e2 even. So black's had it here. He's several pawns down, and he played actually rook c2, and after king d1 Beliavsky played knight d7, which just allowed bishop g3, forking the rook and bishop. So that's a complete disaster. Beliavsky apparently played knight f8 here, so there's bishop takes f5 check, followed by bishop takes c2. So what a disaster. Let's have a quick overview and summary of this game. Nimzo-Indian defence. So Morozevich's pet line is apparently queen c2 against this main line, so he doesn't mind the loss of time to get the two bishops. Then he plays a very interesting knight e2. So already perhaps with the idea of sacking this g2 pawn for a bit of an attack. And rook d1, we see in this situation this d6 is also going to be another target of white's attacking pressure. So Beliavsky just offers that g2 pawn. Sorry, Morozevich offers the g2 pawn to Beliavsky, but he plays h6 first, and then he takes it. And after bishop h3, we see here knight e4, and potentially a big blunder with bishop f5. It's important to keep control perhaps of that g2 at the moment, to just get time to play knight e5, but that wasn't what was played. So bishop f5, and white just played bishop e7, and so why wouldn't he just give up the d6 pawn, let's say, new variation of bishop takes d6. White would just be better, queen d8 with the two bishops, and in this sort of position just say play bishop d3 is apparently quite strong. I think it does look better, although maybe it needs some analysis, but white definitely is doing fine here, the two bishops and nice pressure on the d file. So Beliavsky just gave up the exchange after that, and he really just crumbled. His queen side was just menaced. But it is very clever the way Morozevich switched all the attacking focus from the king side to the queen side. Well, first to the d6 pawn and then to the queen side pawns. So this is a way to put opponents under real pressure in over the board chess, especially. So I hope you enjoyed that game, and see you on YouTube. Thanks very much.